Well, Zinedine Zidane has finally walked away from the club. Not many Real Madrid fans will be happy to see the Frenchman leave, but a parting of the ways was always inevitable. Los Blancos are looking for a new manager, and there are 3 options on the table. So, who are these options? Stay tuned to find out. Not only that, Manchester United might be getting a lot of money to spend on new players this summer. Will the Red Devils spend wisely and sign the right players? Now that Conte has left Inter, are we set to witness a mass exodus? If you're really keen on knowing not just about the most important football stories, but also stories that make sense, you've come to the right place. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Trust us, you won't be disappointed. Coman agents unhappy with Laporta. Barcelona manager Ronald Koeman's future at the club continues to prowl under a dark cloud after the Dutchman's entourage hit out at the club's president Joan Laporta for suggesting that the manager had an anxiety attack. The representatives are claiming that the club is now looking for excuses to find a new coach. Koeman's agent Rob Jansen said that Laporta's claim was total nonsense and that the manager was undergoing a routine checkup. Speaking to Algemeen Dagblad, Jansen angrily refuted Laporta's claim. "It's total nonsense," he said. "A president is not allowed to say things like this at all. That is a violation of privacy." Ronald only had his blood pressure measured. He has had a cardiac catheterization and is therefore checked every now and then. That's all it is. Whether Laporta wants to admit it or not, the club's president isn't really a big fan of the former player. It's been claimed that La Blaugrana are going to make a managerial change. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to find an ideal replacement, and if they don't in the coming weeks, they will retain Koeman for another season. Come on, Mr. Laporta. How about we start doing things a little bit gracefully for a change? Or is that too much to ask? Solskjaer extension and a big transfer budget. In a week where Pirlo was fired after he failed to help Juventus win their 10th successive league title and Zidane left after taking his team to the Champions League last 4, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is being rewarded with a 3-year deal at Manchester United, even though his side lost the Europa League final to Villarreal on penalties. Social media is always looking for an all-out hashtag, and it was a rekindled trend. But the Glazers are happy to hand the Norwegian tactician another deal and £150 million in net transfer spend for the summer. Does it sound strange? It would if you like to see a managerial merry-go-round at football clubs. At least the American owners are trying to be patient, even though their presence hasn't necessarily helped United grow as a team. But hey, you get what you can. So United are in the market for a striker, a defensive midfielder, a winger and a centre-back. Tom Heaton has decided to return to the club at the age of 35, while Jadon Sancho is reportedly close to joining them. Kinda feel bad for Chelsea here, who were trying to hijack that move. United have also been linked with a truckload of defenders and defensive midfielders. We're not sure if £150 million will be enough for that, but you can always sell some deadwood and end up raising enough cash, right? The Italian exodus. Facts are facts. If your club is losing money, you might lose a manager. If you lose a manager because of lack of money, the bigger players will act strangely. If that happens, you better sell those players before they ruin the team environment. But that's not the case with Inter Milan. They're the new champions of Italy. They've lost their manager because he didn't agree with tightening their belts during the global financial crisis. Now, they have to sell a few of their big names just to stay afloat. Clearly, those title celebrations have quickly become a thing of the past. Apparently, Romelu Lukaku will be the first to leave the club, and it appears that a return to Chelsea is a possibility. The Blues badly need a striker and are willing to take back the Belgian giant who is scoring goals with his hands tied behind his back these days. Ashley Young is also in talks with Watford over a return to the club, and this could prove to be the veteran's last professional move before he hangs up his boots. Lautaro Martinez might not want to stay either if the rest of his mates jump ship, so expect the Argentine to try and engineer a move away from Lombardy. The same goes for Achraf Hakimi, who's been linked with Paris Saint-Germain. Man, I feel really bad about Inter. You work so hard to end a club's monopoly, only to see your team taken apart piece by piece. The new French champions Lille will agree, since they're facing a similar issue. They've got no manager, and they're set to lose a bunch of first-teamers. There's a silver lining for Inter though. Star defender Alessandro Bastoni has committed until 2024, and the announcement on Inter's Twitter handle shows just how happy they are with it. And the next Real Madrid coach is... Dealing with a man like Florentino Perez is like witnessing Jekyll and Hyde in real life. When times are good, the Real Madrid Supremo will sing your praises to anyone who'll listen. Your players will be like the sons that he never had. But when the team is doing badly, or even at the first setback, he'll prove to be your most dangerous enemy. He wouldn't come out to criticize you in front of the world. No, that's not how he operates. Senor Perez is a wily one for sure. He's too smart to know that he can't just lash out at his employee. Instead, he'll sugarcoat his words and leave everything to the listener's imagination. No wonder Zidane had had enough of this. When Madrid lost the Champions League tie to Shakhtar Donetsk, El Mundo reported that Perez wanted to sack the manager. Through journalists he was close with, Zidane was asked questions about his future. The Frenchman is equally clever and picked up the signals. But Madrid bounced back and qualified for the next round, and that was the end of the story. Zidane doesn't mind taking criticism from the outside. It's part of his job as a manager of a club as demanding as Real Madrid. What he couldn't put up with was how his day-to-day work was questioned from inside the club. To be honest, Zidane didn't leave Madrid because he felt it was the right thing to do. Madrid and Perez facilitated the departure. Of course, how can fans digest the sacking of a manager who averaged one trophy every 23 games? He's leaving an icon of the greatest club, a legend, an exemplary Madridista who made simplicity, elegance and honesty his banner both on and off the pitch. Someone who on 2 occasions dared to take over the team at a critical moment. Therefore, to say that he's now leaving Real Madrid is not only false but also immoral. So, now that he's left, who is going to be the next person to be given the unenviable task of dealing with the 2 different versions of Perez? There are 3 potential arrivals, so let's start discussing them one by one. Raul. It does make sense that Madrid could go for Raul Gonzalez, one of their greatest ever strikers. Fernando Morientes does seem to think so. Raul is more ready than anyone, Morientes said to El Partidazo, becoming the first to back the Castilla boss to make the step up. He's one of the most reliable options available. Raul's biggest flaw, and it isn't really a flaw, is that he hasn't managed at senior level. Would it be fair to give the former player such a big responsibility? We've already seen with Andrea Pirlo how damaging it can be. So if Raul really wants to start his managerial career, he should cut his teeth elsewhere, gain experience, and then wait for a chance to become the Madrid manager when the time is right. Antonio Conte. So the folks at Marca seem to believe that Antonio Conte might become the club's next manager. Conte, as we mentioned earlier, has left Inter Milan and reportedly has already had a conversation with Madrid. He is available, but Madrid haven't really decided anything yet. But one thing that Perez needs to be careful about is that Conte is going to be unlike any other manager that he's hired. The Italian tactician is a serial winner, but when he's not given some backing, he happens to lash out at team management. While such behaviour can be accepted at many clubs, Madrid might not take kindly to that, and it could create a huge issue at the club that will eventually find its way to the dressing room. And we all know what can happen when players start being used as pawns in the battle for supremacy between managers and presidents. Mauricio Pochettino. So why Poch? Plain and simple. Madrid need to start relying more on the younger players like Vinicius Jr., Ferland Mendy, Rodrigo and others. Pochettino has a great record of doing well with young players. He did that admirably at Tottenham and at Southampton before that. Moreover, the Argentine tactician is apparently not happy at PSG and might want to leave as soon as the perfect opportunity arises. It's understood that Massimiliano Allegri was initially the preferred choice of the Blancos board when Zidane's intention to depart first materialised. Juve have, however, moved quickly to beat their European rivals to a proven winner, with the Bianconeri preparing to welcome a familiar face back to Turin. There is desire on both sides to make the move, but Madrid will have to strike some sort of deal with PSG, who might not be eager to do business just yet. So, who do you think will be the next manager of Real Madrid? Let us know your pick in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe.